So I am a mindfulness and meditation consultant. So just think of me as a personal trainer for the mind. So I started this business with a desire to teach the skill of mindfulness and make it accessible to everyone. I am a former Fife College student. I studied event management way back in the day. And yes, I have fond memories of Fife College. And it actually changed into Adam Smith, and now it's back to Fife College. So that's how long ago it was. So if anyone wants to unmute themselves and add in to the conversation, equally, if you just want to stay quiet, it's totally fine. It's as interactive as you want to be. And those that are watching back can make your own notes. And if you've got anything to add, please feel free to send me an email or send me a message via the social media pages. So has anyone ever done any mindfulness or meditation practices? Is it new?
I've personally done a couple of YouTube, and we've got like an app called Blink or something, and Headspace, but that's about it.
Fab. Headspace is brilliant. That's where I started, and I think the Headspace app is great. It explains it all very clearly, and it's a great go-to. So in regards to my meditations, I add a very strong grounding to the end of the meditations. I felt like this was missing in a lot of the meditations that were out there at the moment. Sometimes you could kind of be left feeling a little bit sleepy or a little bit floaty at the end. So I add quite a strong grounding to the end to allow you to go on with the rest of your day, really. So you'll learn about that later when we try it. And currently I work with a lot of corporate clients to assist them with their business goals and supporting their employees and customers. And my background is project management, marketing, and events. So, an introduction to mindfulness. What we're going to cover today is a very high level introduction to how the brain works, what mindfulness is, why it's important, what tools we could use to keep our brain fit, and we are going to finish with 2 different types of meditation. I'm going to add in a short one and a longer one, depending on what time everyone has. So because this is recorded, you could listen back at any time. Just skip it to the bit that you want. So at college, if anyone wants to unmute and add in, what barriers are you coming up against at the moment? I will chip in what barriers I came up against when I was at college and when I was at uni. And if anyone has anything else that they want to add, please unmute yourself and chip in. So I have here switching off and getting to sleep, or getting back to sleep. Work overwhelm, exam overwhelm. I remember that it didn't really matter when it was, all the assessments are due at the same time, or all the exams were at the same time. So you kind of went along, and then it was just like this overwhelming workload. COVID restrictions, obviously we're in a different age now where there's restrictions. Some of you guys are doing blended learning. Some would have had quite a sufficient time of learning from home. And even now we're still wearing masks when we're in. And whether that acts as a barrier to getting to know one another as well. It's quite hard to have a conversation with a mask on. So yeah. Energy and time, whether that's not having enough time and not having enough energy, and being able to switch off and get that college life and balance where you leave college at college and could enjoy the present moment, whether you're out with your mates or spend time with family, etc. Does anyone want to add anything else into that? Okay, we will just move on. So the brain. So just like our body, our brain needs exercise. There are many parts to the brain, but today we're just going to focus on the key parts in regards to mindfulness. So we have our prefrontal cortex. So that is the front part of the brain. It is the conductor of the orchestra. It is the boss. It is the intellectual part. That is where we want to be operating from. So when, for example, I am doing this conversation at the moment, that is where I'm operating from. When we're studying, when we're sitting exams, when we're writing assessments, when we're having a focused conversation with someone, when we're making good decisions, planning and organising our time and activities, we will mainly be operating from the prefrontal cortex, the front part, the intellectual part. That is where we get stuff done, and that is where we want to be operating from and spending the majority of our time. So the amygdala is in the middle part of the brain, and it acts as our security guard. It is the smoke detector. It is a filing cabinet of unhelpful behaviours that we have stored. It is the fear centre, and it's also the fight, flight and freeze. I need to say that slowly. The fight, flight and freeze. I should have just stopped it the first time. And it sends out the messages to the rest of the body that there is something wrong. So that's where all that is stored. And you have the back part of the brain, which is the primitive brain. So this combines the reptilian brain and the limbic part of the brain. The reptilian part is the oldest part of the brain. It controls like our heart rate, our breathing, the parts that just happen. The limbic part of the brain is responsible for our emotions, our values, our judgments. It's rigid and inflexible. So those combined make up the primitive part, which is the negative part of the brain. It is the caveman or cavewoman. And it is hardwired to look out for danger. It's hardwired to look out for tigers. Are you going to be eaten or not eaten tonight? That is what that's hardwired into. Because otherwise, way back when, we would have been extinct. So it was good for those times way back when, but now we don't really have tigers that we're faced with. And that is when this part of the brain could only focus on anger, depression, anxiety. It just does the negative stuff. So this is where the negative chatter happens. Now, this is where he said this, or she said that, or I wish I'd said this, or why didn't I do that? Or I wonder if that'll happen in the future. Or, you know, when you feel like you're just stuck in this negative loop and it just feels like you can't get out of it, that is where you're operating from. That's where you are. So all that negative chatter needs to stop, and we need to get back to the intellectual part of our brain. Sounds easy, doesn't it? So how do we do that? So the scientists of the world have identified that through neuroplasticity, we have the ability to adapt, learn, and recover our brains. So we can rewire our brains. So with the correct stimulus and the correct repetition, we hold the power to rewire our brain. So if you've got a piece of paper sitting in front of you, I'm going to ask you to do a little exercise. So here's my notes that I'm reading from the screen, just in case the screen stopped working. I've got them printed here. So we're going to use this piece of paper. Take the piece of paper and fold it in half. And then we take the piece of paper again and we'll fold it in half. And really fold it down, give it those big, nice, deep lines. And then we fold it in half again. And as we do it, it gets that wee bit tougher, doesn't it? It gets that wee bit tougher. We need to squeeze it a wee bit more. Fold it again. It gets a wee bit tougher because how are we going to fold it to this bit? Because that's getting small now. Fold it again. Squeeze. Okay. So unravel the piece of paper and we've got loads of lines, loads of fold marks. So we'll do it again, exactly the same way. Fold, 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 fold. So this time was much easier, wasn't it? It was much easier because the lines were already there. The path was already there. So that is the idea. The brain is a piece of paper. We want to create good pathways, good positive pathways in our brains, not negative pathways. So it's safe to say that I'm going to guess everyone wants to create good pathways in our brain, ones that we could repeat over and over that is helpful to us rather than unhelpful. So how do we go about doing this? So mindfulness is the act of being present in the moment. And it sounds quite simple, doesn't it? Just be present. But I think we all know it's not that easy. There is so many distractions in the world now. Like, for example, when I was at college, there wouldn't have been any social media. And when I was at uni, I think I don't know if anybody remembers Bebo, but that was the social media at the time. And I think Facebook was just coming in as I was finishing uni. And so honestly, hats off to everyone, because I couldn't even imagine studying now with that level of distraction. It is immense. We are so distracted now. So being present isn't as easy as it says on the beautiful quotes that you get. But mindfulness helps us rewire our brains. It creates new pathways to achieve the goals that we want. It allows us to let go of the negative chatter, let go of the negative thoughts and feelings that stop us and block us. And it allows us to be in the here and now, capturing what we want out of life and what we want to achieve, and focus on how amazing life actually is. So mindfulness is actually so powerful that all the scientists of the world have identified that it actually has the power to change the structure of our brain. We can improve our attention levels. We can improve our ability to risk assess. It also has the ability to improve our body's state, such as our gut feeling, our sense of pain, and improve our heart rate as well. Other benefits include being able to get to sleep, being able to get back to sleep, because I think we all know how hard a day is when you've had next to no sleep or a really broken, horrible sleep. We are straight back to that primitive part of the brain. It's really hard to access that prefrontal cortex, that intellectual part, when we're tired and when we're sleep deprived. Mindfulness helps reduce stress. It allows us to let go of the negative thoughts and worries. It lowers our blood pressure, increases our attention, and increases our ability to focus on our goals. For you guys, I'm guessing that is doing as best as you can for your assessments and your exams and getting the grade that you want to get to, whether it's into a job or whether it's onto that next stage of education. So, mindfulness tools, what could we do? We could meditate, we could use affirmations, we could do breath work, yoga, journaling. This is just a few that I've written down. However, we don't need to do anything really fancy like that. As long as we're fully engaged in what we are doing right now. For example, I'm not calling anybody out, but for those that are actually just sitting watching me right now, that is being mindful. For those that are listening to me but doing their emails but on their phone at the same time, not so much. So another example would be watching the TV, getting something good on the telly, on Netflix, and just watching it. Not being on our phone at the same time, not checking the social media, one thing after the other. I mean, we all do it. It's an exercise to be able to put the phone down, just concentrate on the programme. Or having a dance in the kitchen. Like just doing something that is in the moment. So, an exercise for everyone. This is a mini mindful moment exercise. This is focusing on moments where you feel more connected to the present. You're more aware, more focused, and you feel more in the here and now. So if you've got a pen and paper there, write down 3 things over the past few days that have been mini mindful moments and why they were great. So I will give some examples. I was out with my friends and we were just having the best laugh, telling jokes, telling stories. And the reason that it was great was it made me feel happy. It made me feel grateful that I had a group of friends that wanted to spend time with one another. Another example is being out in the sunshine. The other day when the sun was we just had that grey for ages, hadn't we? Grey, 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 rain, grey, more wind, my goodness me. And then the sun came out and it was just like, oh my God, the sun is out. How amazing. So why that was great for me was I felt lighter instantly just with the sun, being in the sun. I felt more free. And I felt the warmth on the sun on my face. And it just made everything just feel so much better. Last example, getting praise for some corporate work that I'd been working on. Why it felt good was that I had a great sense of accomplishment. And that made me feel good. So the idea is that when we focus on these types of moments and when we recall them, it is then easier to see them. It is then easier to see more of them in your day. So this is all brain training. This is pushing our focus to the intellectual part of our brain. So the more we could do this, the more we're exercising the brain. So, our thoughts. Now, we have up to, there's a lot of discussion, but they say roughly on average about 60,000 thoughts per day. That's a lot. Some actually say up to about 80,000. A lot of busy, a lot of tabs open. 80% of which of these thoughts are negative, and that is normal. So, firstly, thoughts are random. They could be happy, sad, scary, intrusive, beautiful. They are random. They are separate from us. Now, thoughts that come about when in college, negative thoughts include, I'm going to fail. I don't know enough. I find this so hard, but others don't seem to find it as hard as me. When am I going to have the time, and when am I going to have the headspace to think clearly enough to get the work done? Now, if anybody wants to unmute and add some more in, please feel free to do so. So, as I said before, our thoughts are not real. And secondly, we do not need to react to our thoughts. They are separate from us. We all have this negative commentary running in the background in our head. Now, some people talk about this commentary as the mind monkeys, they call it. Some people call it the crazy lady. Some people call it the crazy man. Whatever you call it, it's this negative chatter. You're not quite good enough. You're not going to manage doing that assessment. What did you write that for? Why did you say that in class? La, 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 in the back of your head. So here's an example of you holding the power. So you've just sat down for your dinner. The doorbell rings. You go and answer the door, and there's a slightly unnerving salesperson at the door trying to sell pens. So you have two options. You say, no, thank you. I'm just about to have my dinner. I've got lots of pens. Fine, thanks very much. Goodbye. Close the door. Go back to your dinner. Or you say, come in. Even though you're a bit like unnerved by the person, come in, show me your pens. Come and sit at my table. Actually, do you want some dinner? You could have half of mine. You could sit with my family and tell me all about the pens. Now, just like the unnerving salesperson turning up at your door, do not need to let them in. You do not need to give them any attention. Just say, no, thank you, and close the door. Now, your thoughts and your feelings, the negative thoughts and negative feelings are exactly the same. You could say, no, thank you, and close the door. Now, I think we all know that that's quite hard to do. And it is not as simple as it is to write that down. So think of your mind like the TV. You wouldn't stay watching something that you didn't like on the TV. You would just turn it off. You would change the channel. I don't like scary movies. Not into it at all. So I would not just sit there and watch a scary movie, making myself feel scared and not nice. I would just turn it off. Put something funny on. And our thoughts and feelings are the same as that. So how we do this is a technique called labeling or noting. So what you do is a negative thought or feeling. So for example, I'm going to fail my exam, comes swooping in. And you acknowledge that negative thought is there. and you acknowledge that negative feeling, that knot in your stomach or however it comes out for you. Acknowledge it for what it is. It's a negative thought and it's a negative feeling. Just gently acknowledge it. Breathe in, breathe out, and just let it go. And return back to what you're doing. So right now, you're returning back to listening to me talking on this live or on replay. If you are, for example, say out for a walk and there's not that much going on, you could return to focus on your breath and focusing on the rise and the fall. You could even count it up to 10. 1 with the rise, 2 with the fall, etc. So this technique is called labeling or noting. And like any exercise, it takes practice. You wouldn't wake up one morning and decide, I'm going to go and run an ultra marathon. I've trained once and I've had a good meal last night. So that's me, I'm ready to go. This is the same. It takes time. It takes years. And like any exercise, you need to stay on it. It needs to be consistent. The power is in consistency. Like anybody that has run an ultra marathon, if they stop running, if they stop training, if they stop eating properly, they wouldn't then be able to run that ultra marathon the next year. This is the same. So these techniques and these exercises take practice. They take doing it every day or every couple of days. Whatever you start is good. The key is to start and to practice them. So a nice quick technique for you to reduce any stress quite quickly and to get back into the present moment in time. Say, for example, you are in class and a couple of negative thoughts come in. You get that kind of like horrible feeling in your stomach, or I know some people get kind of like pins in their heads. I tend to get that knot in my stomach. So however it comes out for you, here is a quick technique to bring you back. So your breath is your anchor. It is always with you. You could focus on your breath and nobody would know that you're focusing on your breath. So it's perfect for example, you're in class, lecturers talking, and you're kind of caught in a way in this wee negative loop, but you need to be concentrating on what's getting said because they're going to talk about what you need to cover for the exam. So breathing in for 4 through your nose. And if it's a bit tricky breathing in through your nose, you could do it through your mouth, but ideally breathing in through your nose for 4 and breathing out as if you're blowing out a bubble, like the old school bubble ones, and breathing out for more than 4. So whether that's 6 or 8 or 5, it doesn't matter, just as long as it's more than 4. And this will help slow your exhale. So let's do it together. So breathing in for 4 and out for more. So what we're doing here is we're activating the parasympathetic nervous system. This breathing technique calms your body, calms your mind, and reduces stress. So that's a nice little technique for you for when you're needing to get that quick reset, but you're maybe in amongst other people. So to recap today, we have focused on a high level of introduction to mindfulness with some brain training techniques, which you could add to your toolkit. So we've covered mini mindful moments. This is, I would aim for you guys to look out for at least one per day. Ideally like 3 or 5, but start with 1. And if you're feeling keen, go for it. Try and go for up to 5. And you're looking for those moments that you feel extra focused and extra present in the day. The good moments, the ones that you just tune in that wee bit more. And highlight why they're good. Say them out loud. Tell whoever you're with, whether you're at home or out with friends, or whether you just want to, you could key it into your phone, you could say it out loud. I do this technique twice a day without fail. And it totally works. Labeling our thoughts, labeling our feelings, and being able to let them go. So we're distracted by a negative thought or negative feeling. We acknowledge that for what it is. It's a negative thought or negative feeling. Breathe in, we breathe out, and we let it go. And we return to what we're doing. We return to the breath. We return to, on this video, we return to our studies. It's okay if you don't feel like it's fully let go of, just come back to what you're doing. And the more you repeat, the easier it becomes. Breathe in, the in for 4, out for more. Now, I will cover all these techniques in meditation for you. And we are going to do 2 types of meditation now. We're going to do a nice little short one that you could do, for example, say you're in an exam, and then the second one we will settle in for almost 10 minutes and go through a guided meditation. Now, make sure you've got a drink for afterwards. The drink is there to help you ground and come back at the end of the meditation. That's what that's there for. Anyone that's never meditated before, there is a lot of misconceptions about meditation. I think it's due to like the movies and TV, and people think that your mind is to be completely clear, and if it's not, you're doing it wrong. This is incorrect. In fact, when you're doing meditation, sometimes your thoughts and feelings could come through harder and faster, and this is totally normal. Just do your labeling technique as well. You've been distracted, acknowledge that, let it go, come back to my voice. Remember, I'm right here with you, and if anybody has any questions before it or after it, please just unmute yourself or send me a message later on. So let's do a short meditation now. So meditation exercises our brain. It allows us to access that prefrontal cortex, that intellectual part. So when you're sitting in an exam, your mind goes completely blank, like everything that you've learned has completely gone. Cannot think at all. I have been there, I have done that. Or at home, and there's distractions everywhere. Your phone, the telly, internet, home life's going on, housework's to be done, there's kids running about, you're tired, and you just need that quick reset button. You've got a minute to spare and you just want to get that reset. So let's do it now together. Breathing in for 4 and out for more. Drop your gaze. Breathing in for 4 and out for more. Repeating either out loud or internally, I am resilient. I am knowledgeable. I will succeed. Breathing in for 4. And out for more. I am resilient. I am knowledgeable. I will succeed. Breathing in for 4. And out for more. Lift your gaze. Okay. Just to bring us back down and reset. So now we are going to do a guided meditation. So as I said before, this would be useful like if you've got lots of study to do and you just need to get in the groove, really. Get in the groove to get the work done. So what I'm going to do is I am going to say thank you very much to everyone coming on and everyone who watched on replay. You could find me on Tiger's Eye Mindfulness on social media, and I am Lindsey Methven on LinkedIn. What I'll do is I'll do the meditation, and if anyone has any questions, you could unmute yourself at the end, and if not, you could send me a message or an email or whatever. And that way that when you're watching this back later on, you've got the meditation to listen to in this time. So does anybody have any questions right now before we start, or are we happy to just go for it?
Happy to just go for it then.
We're happy to just go for it. Brilliant. Okay. So once we're done, I'll just say thank you, and I'll ask if anybody has any questions, and if not, I'll just come off, and then that way you've got this recording. So let's get started. So I'll just put music on in the background. Is the volume of the music versus my voice okay? Let me know if it's not okay.
No, I think that's good.
Cool. So as you take this time for yourself, get comfortable. Ideally with your spine sitting straight on a chair. If it is more comfortable, feel free to lie down. Keeping your spine as straight as possible. Taking a deep breath in for 4. And out for more. Feel yourself settle in. Feeling the comfort from the surface beneath you. Feel it hold you. And in doing so, feeling comforted, secure, and supported. As you breathe in, feel your body fill with fresh, new air. Breathing out, gently, in your own time, close your eyes. Picture yourself outside in the beautiful sunshine. Somewhere that soothes you. Where are you? Are you in a forest? Are you at the beach? Are you climbing a mountain? Or are you out and about in the hustle and bustle of a busy street? All of a sudden, you feel the warmth from the beautiful sunshine above you. The heat soothes your body. From this warmth, you feel strength. You feel freedom. You feel as though any weight is being gently lifted from your shoulders. You feel happy and present in this moment. You do not need to be anywhere else apart from underneath the shining sunshine. The birds are in the sky, they're flying high up above you. You hear them talking and singing to one another. You feel the warmth from the sun cover your body. This moment is so precious. It's precious because it's yours. It's yours to feel at one with yourself. It's yours to feel at one with the power of nature. You're so grateful for the sunshine. So happy to hear the birds in the sky. The bright yellow glow of the sun, it heats your feet. This glow, it wraps itself around your toes and up through your heels. It moves up into your legs. You feel the glow. This movement of relaxation, well, it creeps up into your stomach, into your lower back. It soothes away any aches and any pains. Breathing in for 4 and out for more. The warmth from the sun moves up into your chest and up into your shoulders, as if the heat is giving you a shoulder massage. The flow of relaxation, it tingles down your arms. Breathing in and out. The glow of the sun, it lifts up into your neck and up and around your head. You feel nourished and lighter, more energized and free. You are at one with yourself and you are at one with nature. In this moment, you're happy to be still. Hitting that reset button, listening to the birds in the sky. They are dancing and jumping, flying around, doing as they please, focusing on their own journey. Breathing in for 4 and out for more. Our thoughts and feelings, they're a lot like birds in the sky. Some are beautiful and captivating. Others are scary and unnerving. But the key is to softly watch them. Not to give too much attention to them, or even try and chase after them. Just acknowledge that they're there, and we let them go. And we come back to the present. Because you are ready. You're calm and relaxed. You're ready to be present in your exciting life. Breathing in for 4 and out for more. Feeling the glow of the sun move from your head. It rushes down into your shoulders, then into your arms, lightly moving your fingers. The warmth moves down to your stomach, it passes into your thighs, and it grounds into your feet. The warmth that leaves your feet and your toes, it passes into the earth. You are at one with the earth, and you are at one with nature. Because you are connected to nature. Like the big, beautiful trees of the world, you are rooted and grounded and nourished by the earth. Breathing in and out. I'd like you to become aware of any sounds that you hear around about you. Any sounds that you hear inside the room that you're in. Any sounds that you hear outside. Feeling yourself being present. Feeling yourself on the surface beneath you. Feeling calm and relaxed, rested and energized, ready to take on the rest of your day. Now wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, and wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. And gently, in your own time, open your eyes. Take a drink. And say to yourself, I am resilient. I am knowledgeable. And I will succeed.